This is the 2022 Volkswagen Tiguan Allspace R-line. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why this is the mid-size 7-seater that you've been looking for. My name's Salvatore and this is Exhaust Notes Australia. Let's get into it. This blue is a must when getting the R-line. It is a $900 option, but it really complements the looks of this car. Talking about the looks, the R-line has a more aggressive front bumper than the rest of the models in the range. It also has matrix LED front headlights with a light bar that flows through the front grille to the latest updated Volkswagen logo and through to the following headlight. Some people say that the light bar in the grille looks like a monobrow, but I honestly think it complements the car. It makes it look a little bit more elegant than most things on the road. And you know, when this is behind you, that you're looking at an Allspace or a Volkswagen Tiguan. So that R-line styling continues down the side of the car with the R-line badging on the door here. We've got the side skirts, the satin door mirrors, the satin roof rails. We've also got 20-inch alloys wrapped in Pirelli Scorpion tires, which is 255s at the rear and 255s at the front. The car is longer compared to the standard Tiguan due to the rear back seats, as it is a 7-seater. It does weigh 1,700 kilos, which isn't that heavy when you think about it, but it's still heavier than your standard mid-size sedan. Moving towards the back of the car, we have an updated rear bumper bar with this chrome strip that has continued from the front of the car all the way to the back. I really do not know why Volkswagen keeps doing this. Please, can you stop doing this, Volkswagen Group? This fake exhaust thing that they do on all their cars. If you're going to put exhaust, put them on there. If not, just don't put that. It just looks silly. But I'm not going to let that deter me from talking about the positives of the car. But yes, please stop doing that. You have a Tiguan badge on the rear bumper, which I think is a nice touch. Then you also got this sport wing and the back. I think that makes it look really sporty and I really like that. It's a nice touch. And then you have these MK7 Golf GTI inspired rear tail lights from the performance pack. I really think that resembles that. Let me know in the comments, do you think that looks like the performance pack or am I just seeing things? But I really like those rear tail lights. So let's talk about engines. So the range starts off with the Life. The Life has a 1.4 litre 4-cylinder petrol motor mounted to a 6-speed dual clutch transmission and front wheel drive. I would say don't opt out for that one. Move up the range and either get the elegance or the R-line, as they have 4-motion all-wheel drive, and I think that's what you want in a mid-size SUV or an SUV for that matter. In the elegance in the R-line, you have an option of a petrol motor or a diesel motor, and in this case in the R-line, we have a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol motor that's derived from the MK7 Golf GTI. So guess what that means? Well, for starters, the name gives it away with the Tiguan R-line when it says 162 TSI, which means 162 kilowatts, 350 newton meters of torque, sending all that power to a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, allowing this car to do a 0 to 100 time of 6.8 seconds. That's pretty quick for a mid-size SUV. Now, if you're familiar with tuning companies, especially Revo, this engine is highly tunable. In a MK7 Golf GTI with a simple stage 1 tune, this engine increases its output from 162 kilowatts to 234 kilowatts and torque from 350 to 434. That's a lot of power. I hope Revo does something with the Allspace because it will make it a more driver focused and highly performing SUV. So Revo, get to it for us. Let's talk about boot capacity. So we have an electronic tailgate. I have to mention that, which makes life a lot easier. So boot capacity. Now with the seats up at the back here, you have 230 litres. If you want more, simply just pull the levers and you increase it to 700. Now, if you want even more, we can drop the passenger seats and you increase that 700 litres to 1,700 litres. And then you've got an almost flat floor to throw things into the back. And another thing that I like Volkswagen's done as well is this. They've made space to put the load cover, which is really good because a lot of automakers don't do that and it's quite annoying, and then you don't know where to put it when trying to load things in the back. Another thing that I like about the Tiguan is, check this out. I've got a torch that can be pulled out from the side and used at night when I can't see things. I think that's a really nice touch. And if you need to charge it, you just chuck it back into the side and it becomes a light again. Pretty cool, right? So the real reason why you buy this car, 1, boot capacity, 2, these seats right at the back. So to get to them, pull the lever, slide the seats forward, gracefully step into the back, like so. Slide the seats forward, and yeah, knee room none, feet room none. This is predominantly for small children. If you're an adult, I wouldn't recommend long journeys in the back here. Let's go to these seats in front of me and explain how comfortable they are, because this is quite claustrophobic. Let's get out. So the middle row, there's heaps of room back here. So the front seat's in my driving position. I have plenty of knee room, plenty of foot room. I can stretch out right under the front driver's seat. Also, the seats are completely adjustable. I can, if I can find the handle, slide them forward, slide them back, and I can even recline them. So there's heaps of adjustment. You also have these pockets in the back of the front driver's seat and the front passenger seat for your mobile phone. And then you've also got USB-C charging, heated rear seats in this car, and climate control. You also got armrest here. I don't like these cup holders. I wish it popped out because it just, if you move your arm and you slide into there, it can be quite uncomfortable. You also have ISOFIX points for your baby seats, and unlike most cars where they're hidden, they're just exposed here, which makes it easier to access. So that's it, it's pretty good. So what's changed in the interior from the previous Tiguan? Well, they've updated it slightly. So the infotainment system, for example, you have an updated infotainment system and an updated driver's display. You have a 9.2 for the infotainment and you have a 10.2 for the driver. We've got the driver's display that we've seen in Audis, where you can, from the flick of a switch, change it from the dials to full navigation. Really nice. I really like this system. I think it's the best in the market. It just makes life a lot easier when driving. The infotainment, you have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Very easy to use, very clear and very crisp. I really like it. Coming down to the climate control system, which I don't like for a fact, is because it doesn't have physical drive buttons or knobs. It's just irritating when trying to change the aircon when driving. There's no response. It's frustrating. What's wrong with knobs and buttons? That is irritating, so please get rid of that. Moving down to the middle console, you have USB-C charging and a 12-volt socket. You've also got wireless phone charging for your mobile phone. You've also got driving modes for snow, tarmac, off-road. I don't know why they have this in here. No one's really going to take this car off-road, but I understand why they have it. But it's just, yeah, you could be just easily programmed into the ECU. But the mode button's cool because you can change from Eco, Comfort, Normal, or Sport. I just leave it in Sport because it's just fun, and you'll see that when we drive the car. Cup holders and cubby holds, well, you've got plenty of places to store things like in this car. It's just ridiculous. That's one of my favorite things about this car. So for example, coffee cup, I can put it in here. Now they have these little clips that you press with a button to put the coffee cup in, and it adjusts depending on what size your cup is. I really like that. You also got center armrest that you can prop up if you want to have it higher, or you can put it all the way down. You have these R-line bucket seats, which are fantastic and really keep you in when you're driving. They're comfortable and you feel like you're driving a sports car. Back to the cubby holds, you've also got plenty of storage for glasses. If you're vain or if you're a sunglass wholesaler, there's plenty of places to store your glasses. You also got ginormous door bins for massive bottles. And you've also got a cooled glove box. So you can chuck a drink in there and keep it cool because it's got air conditioning inside the glove box. I really like that. I think that's a nice touch. You also got black roof lining in the R-line, which just makes it feel a bit more sportier. Also, this car has an option pack, which is over $2,000, which allows for a Harman Kardon sound system, head-up display, which is a bit, I don't like how it pops out of the dash. It's just a bit cheap, nasty. I wish it was just integrated into the windscreen like most German automakers. Just that coming out of the dash doesn't look, and it just looks tacky. But I understand why they do it. It's cost effective because then you don't have to change the whole windscreen. You can just have a little hatch that pops out a piece of glass. And I understand why they do that. You've also got a very sporty steering wheel in the R-line, which I love. I love the way this thing feels and the way it makes you feel like you're driving a sports car. It does have touch sensitive buttons. Again, I wish I had physical buttons, but other than that, it's not that bad. You also got heated steering wheel, which is cool. And you've also got the Volkswagen's latest IQ safety system. So from the simple push of a button, you activate all the car's safety systems, which is autonomous driving, lane keeping assist, and all the other bells and whistles that comes with safety systems these days. And that is standard across the range, which is really, really good. Other than that, guys, it's just the usual Tiguan interior. It's a bit drab sometimes when you're driving at night with all the black. I wish they added a little bit more color, but they have added a bit more ambient lighting. But it's just, yeah, it's not the most flamboyant interior. It's pretty standard Volkswagen, but it works. You also have door sills with R-line badging on it if you forget that you're driving an R-line. But besides that, guys, it's all the basic stuff that Volkswagen does best, and that is make you feel like you're driving something premium and well built. Other than that, let's take this thing for a drive. So we are going to launch the Tiguan. So it does have launch control. So left foot on the brake, turn your ESC completely off or in sport mode. Throttle to throttle, 3,000 RPM. And yeah, that's pretty quick. So 0 to 100 time of 6.8 seconds is enough for a mid-size SUV, by all means. I don't think you need any quicker. But like I said in the video, this engine is highly tunable. So I guess later on, Revo will come out with tuning options to make this even faster than what it already is. Now, to go through the modes, like I was explaining, you hit mode down here on the driver selector, and you can go from sport to eco to normal to comfort and all the other settings. Your ambient lighting changes when you do that, so it's pretty cool. And in eco mode, you can get a claimed fuel consumption of 8.6 liters per 100 Ks, but realistically, I've been driving this for about a week now, and it does around 9.5 to 10.5. I'm getting right now, or I've got a lead foot, 12 liters per 100 Ks. So it's a bit, but I can drop it if I keep it in eco mode, but I don't. I leave it in sport, because the reason I leave it in sport is because this car is like a hot hatch in an SUV. It just feels awesome. It's very sporty, it's very direct. There's not a lot of body roll. It's got adaptive dampers, so the chassis will change depending on what mode you stick it in. And the all-wheel drive system is unlike most all-wheel drive systems, which are predominantly front-wheel drive. This is either rear wheel or front wheel, depending on what driving mode or how aggressively you start driving. So if you decide to drive a bit aggressive and take some hard corners, the car will then send more power to the rear to give you a bit more sportier feel, and then send it to the front when you feel like you're gonna slip. I feel like that this car is like a Golf R, but in a four-wheel drive. It's just so nice to drive. It feels very sporty. It's the best balance and between a hot hatch and a mid-size SUV, and that's why I love it so much. In terms of comfort, well, it's very comfortable. These leather R-line seats are very nice to sit in. They're very body hugging. They do over a long distance feel a little bit stiff, but they're not the worst. But besides that, it's quite a nice and enjoyable car to drive and to be in as well. So what's my verdict on the Volkswagen Tiguan R-line Allspace? Well, simply, it combines the sportiness of a hot hatch and the practicality of a mid-size SUV. And that's why I personally and honestly think it is the best mid-size SUV on the market. And I honestly think, guys, you should go ahead and buy one today.